Thanks everyone for being here today. We're excited for an announcement we have about a perfect cooperation between the federal government, one of the gems of the federal government, our national lab system, particularly Oak Ridge National Labs, and two just tremendous, innovative American companies key to the future of AI, Advanced Micro Devices and Hewlett-Packard Enterprises. President Trump came to office and wanted things to move faster. He wanted to unleash American energy. He wanted to unleash American entrepreneurship and innovation so the U.S. could keep the lead in artificial intelligence. We think that's critical to better the economy in our country, also to keep our national security safe. We went out and said we need to do things differently in the government. We've got to partner with business in a fast, decisive way. This is essential to reaching it. And what you'll hear today, I'll turn it over to Oak Ridge National Lab Directory, one of the leading scientific institutions on the planet, Stephen Schleifer, and hear about a partnership that was hatched quickly, that is moving already, and will massively expand our compute power in the national laboratory system and in our commercial enterprise within just in the next few months. Thanks so much. Stephen, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, sir. So I'm Stephen Schleifer. I'm the director of Oak Ridge National Laboratory, and on behalf of the Department of Energy, it's an absolute delight to be here. Oak Ridge National Laboratory has been a leader in high-performance computing for about 2 decades now, and that's based on our partnership and a long-established friendship and cooperation with the private sector, in particular AMD and HPE, most recently in deploying a machine called Frontier, which was the first machine to break the exascale barrier. And to give you an idea of what exascale is, that's a quintillion calculations per second. And if a human being did 1 calculation per second, Frontier can do more calculations in a second than that human being could do in the lifetime of the known universe to date. That's how fast that machine is. But that's not enough. We need to keep pushing the frontier, in particular to deploy artificial intelligence to maintain US leadership and overmatch in AI and in science and technology and providing the energy that the nation needs that will keep us at the forefront. And we do that through the partnership between the public sector and the private sector. And it's a delight to be here to announce 2 machines that will represent more than $1 billion worth of investment. Machines called Discovery, which will be deployed in about 2 years, and Lux, which we hope to deploy in about 6 months, again, based on the leadership and the partnership between AMD and HP. And with that, I'd like to ask Lisa Su to come forward and talk a little bit more about the machines. Lisa, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for the introduction and really for hosting today's announcement. It is really a great honor to be here alongside Stephen, Antonio, the Secretary, and really on behalf of all of AMD to talk about 2 new supercomputers that we are building together. I also want to acknowledge that we're here today really because of President Trump's leadership and vision ensuring America leads in the world of artificial intelligence. I think this clear mission for all of us in technology really brings the best of public and private partnerships together, and I'm really proud of the work that we're doing together. So with the today's announcement, we're talking about 2 machines. Discovery represents a huge step forward, not just in technology, but in America's ability to harness AI for science, energy, and national security. Discovery will be a multi-exaflop class supercomputer, and you just heard from Stephen what an exaflop is, powered by our next generation AMD EPYC Venice CPUs and our new AMD Instinct MI430X GPUs, which are engineered for sovereign AI and computing. What I can say is that these technologies were developed in partnership with the Department of Energy and Oak Ridge National Labs to ensure that the US leads in AI. Now, I would also like to talk about a more recent machine, because one of the things that has been amazing is in interacting with this administration, the focus is on speed and action. So from my very first meeting with Secretary Wright, he encouraged us to be very aggressive and bring new ideas to leverage public and private partnership to accomplish the US AI agenda. And his primary emphasis was speed and creativity, and that is making a difference today. So together with Oak Ridge and HPE, we're setting out to bring leading edge AI and compute in a matter of just a few months to the DOE and Oak Ridge. Lux is powered by our 5th generation AMD EPYC CPUs, our newest AMD Instinct MI355 GPUs, and our Pensando networking technology. Together with HPE and Oracle Cloud, we will be installing this at Oak Ridge National Labs by early 2026, and it's expected to bring 3x the amount of AI performance compared to what is on site today in a matter of a few short months. This really provides a foundation for near-term scientific discovery and the acceleration of sovereign US AI research. And what makes these systems truly transformative is really the partnership behind them. Through this collaboration, researchers across the country will be able to share AI-ready data, train and test models faster, and move seamlessly from lab to cloud using our open ecosystem. This partnership should be a model of American innovation where government, academia, and industry come together. And I look at Discovery and Lux as more than just computers. They are really commitments. Commitments to scientific discovery, to open collaboration, and to American leadership in the technologies that will shape our future. So what I can say is thank you for the partnership. We really look forward to clearly state that America will lead in AI with these types of public-private partnerships. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for having us today. Thank you, Stephen, for again inviting us to do something amazing with my partner, Lisa. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise has been a partner of the Department of Energy for decades. And we are proud to say we have built the fastest supercomputers together with our partner, in this case, Lisa. Number 1, number 2, number 3 system are HPE systems. And so we are very delighted to build the next generation of supercomputer for the Department of Energy to maintain that legacy. So what HPE brings to the table, number 1, is the understanding of the mission of the Department of Energy and the mission to continue to make the United States a market leader when it comes down to these type of technologies. And I want to thank the Trump administration to continue to invest and be bold on that vision, supported by the Secretary. And second is the fact that we build the systems in the United States. Everything we do here is made in USA for the USA. And so we bring to bear the latest technologies. So these new systems, particularly Discovery, will have the latest generation of our Cray EX, which has been supporting more than 50 years of direct liquid cooling technologies at scale. And second is going to bring the latest technology in terms of scaling out this large number of compute nodes, in addition to provide the fastest data transmission when it comes down to data management. So we are really proud, Mr. Secretary, to support, again, you and the national laboratories to continue to put the United States in the forefront and make these systems in the United States. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll open up to questions. If you have questions, just go ahead and raise your hand. Let us know your name and outlet who you want to ask the question to. Start with Callie.
Hi, Callie Patterson from the Washington Examiner. Perhaps, Lisa, you can answer this question for me. I'm curious, how much energy are these supercomputers going to be using?
Could we answer them from the podium, if that's okay? Feel free to
Steve, you want to come
closer to the podium if we need to.
It is absolutely clear that energy is a key piece of this. So when we look at Discovery and Lux, these will be actually 2 of the most energy efficient supercomputers out there because of all of the technology that we have in place. But really, these are hundreds of megawatts type systems.
Yeah, absolutely. And the innovations that have really made this drive forward have been those gains in energy efficiency of the system. Lux will be a smaller machine. It really is something we wanted to deploy quickly to support AI for the scientific community. Discovery, again, energy and computing are the same problem. We have to solve them together. And the opportunity that we have here to deploy the computing that will be able to, for instance, be able to simulate the entirety of a nuclear reactor and do design iterations on that using AI. And do that in a way which ultimately helps build the reactors that will power the AI revolution in the US is something we're really looking forward to.
And a quick follow-up to that. Will you guys be building new generation at Oak Ridge for these supercomputers or using what is already available?
I'm sorry, could you?
Will you be building new generation for these supercomputers for the demand?
So we're partnering at Oak Ridge, for instance, with TVA for the power that we need. And of course, the technology is very much Lisa's.
Yes.
Evan Halper with Washington Post. Can you just unpack a little bit exactly the applications for these? As I'm understanding, so these are supercomputers that will be housed at the National Lab for scientific applications, for energy applications, for just government applications, not to be used to train AI models, or how does this work?
The exact reason that we're deploying these machines is actually part of something called the Oak Ridge Leadership Computing Facility, which is funded as a user facility by the Department of Energy for open access for science. So these will be available to the academic community, to the other communities of federal researchers, as well as to the private sector when they're doing open research, both to train models, to do modeling and simulation, and really combine those two, as well as ultimately to start to test new accelerator technologies like quantum nodes, which can also provide calculational advantages in certain cases. So these will be open science machines for the US community.
And just as a follow to that, you talked about nuclear reactors and that process. So the administration's trying to fast track review and make it an 18-month process. And how do these supercomputers, do they play into that?
Oh, great question. If you look at the review process that the NRC uses right now, just to accept the license application can be anywhere from a year to 18 months, just to make sure that the license is complete before they actually start the analysis of that license. So even in the early stages of that, taking all of the rules that go into nuclear reactor licensing that are maintained by the NRC, starting to build models around those that are based on AI, can greatly accelerate even the acceptance of a license, much less the license process itself. And we're working on both of those problems across the Department of Energy complex, not only at Oak Ridge National Laboratory, but other laboratories, including Idaho National Laboratory, for example.
Tim?
Thank you. Tim Gardner, Reuters. In the past, the DOE supercomputers have been used for national security, energy, so forth, but also modeling climate change. Does the Secretary think that they will be used for that at all?
Oh, the computers will be used for whatever the scientists working on it will use them. So I strongly suspect they'll be used for climate change modeling as well.
Yes.
Maggie Slanton, Bloomberg News. Secretary Wright and Lisa as well, maybe. Just, this is a $1 billion deal. So wondering if you could share anything on the terms there, but also curious, how confident you both are that we're not sort of like in this AI bubble as we're seeing like another sort of investment announcement here.
Oh, we've seen, we're early on, but already just amazing advancements in science, the application of science with what's coming from AI. And I think the faster it advances, the bang for the buck of every new dollar invested grows. So I couldn't be more excited by the progress of AI and the desire to partner with it. But the government in general moves slower. So I reached out to Lisa and other leaders and said, look, we want to get moving. We want to get moving. For us to allocate funds and do stuff and collect a budget, that can be slower. I said, bring us creative ideas. And Lisa stepped up and said, we'll build a machine right now. We're going to get it done in several months. You've got to give me a location for it. You've got to support and maintain it. I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to build it. And then we're going to split the use of it, some for commercial applications, some for the progress of scientists. We had a few dialogues back and forth, and like that's a win-win-win. We're all in on it. But this'll, I think the question about a dialogue or a bubble, I think way too early for that. That the investments that are going in the ground now, we are highly confident will have tremendous returns.
And to follow on that, it's just like, are you in discussions with other AI companies to build more supercomputers? Could there be more partnerships like this?
Absolutely. Oh, there'll be plenty more of these coming. We have 17 national labs. We put out a who's interested to develop in our national lab properties, 500 responses. Every name you know in artificial intelligence and data centers and building and compute are responded. And it's just this great combination we have. We have lands, we have a common sense mentality, we have a desire to move quick. And what do the developers of technology want in the United States? They need places to build a regulatory environment they can move quickly and the right partners. But yeah, this is the first of many. But again, hats off to AMD and HPE for how quickly they moved with a very specific proposal in response to a very specific ask.
Yeah, I think Secretary Wright said it the best. I think this is a perfect example of public-private partnership where we wanted to build this infrastructure. There's tremendous need for more AI compute in the world, especially in the United States, and especially for our scientists. I think Stephen and his team were very creative in finding some space. We have compute. HPE is a wonderful partner in delivering that. And what I promised the secretary was to build it very, very fast, because he said sooner is better, and we're excited about doing that. But to your broader question about an AI bubble, I think we are so far away from that. We're actually in this place today where more compute equates to more intelligence, and we don't have enough intelligence for everything that we want to do. And so we're all going to invest. We're going to invest because we know that it will have very strong outcomes, whether you're talking about private enterprises, or in this case, it's really about U.S. leadership in science and technology and national security and energy, and those are extremely high priorities for us.
Matt Small with Fox Business. Lisa, real quick, you said really prior, you said how fast this happened. So what happened or didn't happen that allowed you to move so quickly compared to maybe previous machines? And then what are the goals? I know this is an open science machine, but what are some of the innovations that you guys are hoping to have come out of Lux and Discovery?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, and really I'll invite Stephen and the Secretary and Antonio to comment as well. But look, we know how to do business in terms of building large machines. We've built large machines before. We're very proud of the work that we've done at Frontier and El Capitan, which are the #1 and #2 machines in the world. But those machines took years, frankly. They were long procurement cycles, very competitive bids. And at the end, we were honored, to be selected there. I think what's different in this case, certainly Discovery is the next big machine after Frontier. But with Lux, it really was. I mean, I met the secretary in his office, for the first time, a few months ago as the administration got started, and we talked about priorities. And the priorities are the U.S. must lead in AI, and the Department of Energy is really has tremendous resources with the national labs to have to house the compute that the U.S. government can use. And so he said, give me ideas. And this was one of those ideas where we knew Stephen and his team had some space at Oak Ridge. We knew we had compute, our latest and greatest, that we wanted to deploy. And we're going to jointly invest in this in the sense that it will have, I think, significant value for the DOE, but it also has significant value for AMD as we build out a research and science ecosystem on our technology.
I'll say a few things, and I'll turn it over to Stephen on the exciting things we think we'll get from the machine. But in a traditional process, you go through Congress, you allocate, you get some budget money, and then you run a procurement process to expend that money. We did go through Congress. We have achieved funding both to advance AI for science in our country and AI for national defense. We expect to see these grow in the future years just because there's just so much bang for the buck in advancing AI. But what we did here was just something different, which was saying instead of going through a normal procurement, there's a finite amount of dollars and I got to pick 1, 2, or 3 winners or whatever, just everybody come bring us creative ideas that we can do faster. Like we're going to have dozens of partnerships with companies to build facilities at commercial speed, driven by the time speed at which our commercial players can move, and we're just going to bring what we can to the table: land, permitting, support, operational budgeting, and I think this is just a different way business and government can work together, and critical was to move fast. AI is moving fast. If we move at the old speed of government, we're going to get left behind, and it's just too critical not to be left behind. But that specific target for us at DOE and the national labs is AI for national defense, which is critical to our national sovereignty, and AI for science. Scientific discovery is something that's impassioned me my whole life. We've incredible progress in science during my lifetime, but the rate of scientific progress today is just astounding. And I'll turn it over to Stephen to talk about some of the very specific things and ideas that may be brought about by the increased computing power and the horsepower, intellectual horsepower at Oak Ridge National Labs and across our lab system.
So I have to start with something that both the Secretary and Lisa have already said. This started not as a procurement, but as a partnership between AMD, HPE, and Oak Ridge National Laboratory to deliver value for the nation. That's really the basis of the model. And the science that we hope to do this, we've talked a little bit already about nuclear, how we can help with licensing, how we can help with nuclear design. One that I think both I and the Secretary are extremely excited about is fusion, the next generation of energy. We know how to make a plasma. We don't know how to make a sustained burning plasma. And that's really a control process that artificial intelligence and the sorts of modeling and simulation that we'll be able to do first with LUX and then ultimately with Discovery will help us be able to do. With our current machine frontier, which is already highly oversubscribed, we're already using all of that machining. You could use 3 or 4 more right now. LUX starts to fill the gap there for the growing AI portfolio that we have within the United States in science and technology. And another great example I'll give you, with the machine frontier, we can simulate every atom in a bacteria. But a bacteria is not nearly a human being. So what we'd like to do is be able to scale up to the point that we can simulate all of the biological systems within an entire human being so that we can really understand the origin of disease, the way that chemistry works in the body, and the way that that then ultimately determines our metabolism and the way that we live. And the 21st century will be the century of health, and that's the way that the department, just one of the ways that the Department of Energy will play in that. Materials design is one that I think is very crucial. We need new materials that not only we can use for things like fusion reactors and fission reactors, we need new machines for information processing. As we've already said, the computing problem that we have now is also an energy problem. The energy problem is going to require computing. How are we going to create the new materials that will be able to both sustain our energy revolution, but also give us new ways to do quantum computing, as an example, that will be immune to the sorts of errors that limit our ability to deploy quantum computers today. And this virtuous cycle of being able to build the computers will ultimately allow us to build the next generation of computers is also one of the very exciting things about this.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate all of you, interest in the topic.